Hey, Sydney and Roman. Hope you guys are doing okay. I'm so very sorry that you have found yourself in quarantine, but it's the way of things these days. So you will get through it and you will come back to school, and we are looking forward to you returning. I am going to create a video for you that you can watch on your own time and work kind of at your own pace. And I'm going to combine Monday's lesson and Tuesday's lesson because really you were here on Thursday for introductions to geography. And I noticed that one of you completed the Google Classroom assignment. I can't remember which one it was. I haven't spent much time on there, but today what I'm going to do is walk you through the lesson I did on Monday, which was a little bit of a continuation of the introductory class that we did on Thursday, because I think it didn't get quite finished on Thursday. And then I introduced the area of the world that we're going to, and just started to talk a little bit about the country of Turkey. I have a video that I showed the kids today in class that I can't find a external link to. I own the DVD, but I cannot find it online, so I'll see if I can find an alternative video for you to watch on Turkey. But anyway, I'm going to upload the PowerPoint to Google Classroom. My PowerPoints tend to be very large sizes because I have a lot of pictures on there. So I'm probably going to have to reduce the size of pictures or the number of pictures that I have on the PowerPoint. And sometimes when Google Classroom transfers a PowerPoint, it transfers it or changes it into Google Slides. Sometimes it kind of doesn't align exactly the same way as it did on the PowerPoint. So if it looks a little wonky, it's probably because something happened in the translation from PowerPoint slides to Google Slides. So, but I'm going to walk you through the lecture today and from Monday. And if you want to just open up the PowerPoint that I sent you and watch this video on 2 different screens, I think you can probably do that. You can follow along with me while you're looking at the PowerPoint. If the 2 of you want to do it together and have the PowerPoint on one computer and watch me on the other, that's fine as well. So here we go. I'm going to open up my PowerPoint so I can jump right in. So when we left on Thursday, I was just kind of walking through the basics of class. And one of the things that I didn't get to is that throughout the course of the year, we're going to, from time to time, have something, a spotlight on current events. In particular, as it deals with things that countries that we visited in class that might be on the news for some particular reason. So in the PowerPoint, you'll see it looks like an iPad that has the word news on it. It's got some newspapers in the background. And so that indicates that we're going to be talking about a current event. And then there are also maps that show where these countries are in the world. So I gave 3 examples. The first one is an example of when an event that took place in North Korea probably 3 years ago now, when President Trump was president. He flew to North Korea to meet with the dictator. Actually, he flew to South Korea and met with the dictator of North Korea, a fellow by the name of Kim Jong-un, who is a terrible person. He's a dictator and he's ruthless, but his nation has acquired, we think, some nuclear weapons, and so President Trump was trying to convince him to give up his nuclear ambitions in exchange for normalized relationship with the world. So President Trump did something that no other president has ever done. He actually met with the dictator of North Korea and stepped into North Korean territory. As far as I know, no U.S. president has ever done that. And then Kim Jong-un conversely stepped into South Korea momentarily while shaking President Trump's hand, and you'll see a picture of that. So last year, or the year before, this was a current event because we had just finished talking about North Korea, and those events were happening at the time. The next country that we talked about, this was last year as well. We had visited Lebanon, which is a country north of Israel, And in the news, a week or so after we talked about Lebanon, there was a massive explosion at a factory on the coast in Lebanon, in Beirut, Lebanon. And people thought it was a terror attack, but as it turned out, it was a plant that was storing some sort of ammonia or something that is very volatile, very flammable, alongside fireworks. And so something caught on fire, the fireworks started going off, and then the whole building exploded. And so we talked about that. We watched a video on that, and you will notice that there is a film strip attached to one of those pictures of Beirut, Lebanon. So that is there to indicate to you to watch the video coverage of this explosion. It's only a couple minutes long. So pause the video, go watch the crazy explosion that took place, and then come back to the video. The next current event that we talked about was something that's happening right now. We will be visiting Afghanistan, at least in our imagination, in the next few days or few weeks, I guess. So we talked about what's happening in Afghanistan right now, which is a terribly sad situation. A terrorist organization / government entity called the Taliban has overrun the country of Afghanistan, and they are currently I assume they are in control of the capital city of Kabul, although there are several thousand Americans still trapped in Kabul. And so we watched a short 2 or 3 minute summary of what's happening in Afghanistan, or in Kabul, Afghanistan, currently right now. So pause the video, go watch that, and then come back to the video. Let's see here. I can't remember if I sent you the student profile information to fill out, but I'll probably just have you do that when you get back. You'll notice a couple of weird screens. One of them is checkered, and one of them looks like it's a blurry roller coaster or tunnel or something. Whenever we travel to various places, we figuratively travel through these, we'll call them transports, and it plops us down in new areas of the world. And so we will find ourselves in Turkey. And so there, on the PowerPoint, the first image of Turkey that you see is a mosque called the Blue Mosque, which is found in Istanbul, Turkey. And so I introduced the fact that we are going to start our tour around the world in the country of Turkey. The next PowerPoint slide is a picture of several different people from the country of Turkey. The first one is a man wearing a suit. His name is, he is the president, President Erdogan. And there is a woman with a head covering. It's a blue floral head covering. And then there's a woman who just looks like a typical woman you might see on the streets of Bentonville. Long, beautiful, dark hair, wearing a t-shirt, and then the Turkish men's national soccer team. And I show those pictures to give you an idea of what the people of Turkey look like physically. They look Mediterranean, maybe a little bit Arab, dark olive-colored skin. I wouldn't say dark skin, olive-colored skin. Most of them have brown eyes, although the girl wearing the t-shirt looks like she has green eyes, so she's got some European influence there. And the soccer team, with the exception of one guy, have sort of dark skin, dark hair, and that's pretty typical of people that live in Turkey. And then, of course, the Turkish flag is located there as well. So Turkey is a predominantly 99% Muslim nation. However, that was not always the case. Turkey has been conquered by many nations, many empires: the Greek Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Turkish Empire. And so the people of Turkey have a really wide, it's a lot of variety, but generally speaking, they do look more Arab than anything else. There's a couple maps there that show you where Turkey is on the world. I call it the thumbprint because it's kind of right there in the middle of the map. So why are we starting in Turkey? I may have mentioned this before, but I will mention it again. We're starting in Turkey because I wanted to introduce an area of the world to you guys that was maybe new and unusual, rather than starting in America and working our way out. And so in the far east corner of the country of Turkey is a mountain range called the Mountains of Ararat. And historians believe that Noah's Ark, the biblical story of Noah's Ark, that Noah's Ark actually or most likely landed in the area known as the Mountains of Ararat. In particular, there is a mountain, the tallest mountain in that mountain range is called Mount Ararat. There's a verse in Genesis that says, "Then the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month on the mountains of Ararat." Now, we don't know for sure if it's the same ones, or if the current mountains were named that from the previous mountains. We're not 100% sure, but suspect based upon ancient history, the Mesopotamian Fertile Crescent, and the oldest written documents that we have of mankind are located in that area of the world, that's probably where, at least in the area that Noah's Ark landed. And so we're going to follow the migration of peoples around the world, following the pattern of Noah's descendants, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I gotta switch slides here really quick. So I'm jumping into today's lesson. You zip on down here. You'll notice in the picture the map of Turkey. You'll see Mount Ararat way on the eastern side, and then you'll see the Euphrates River and the Tigris River flowing out of the mountains, or out of the northeast corner of the country of Turkey. And let's see here. I'm zipping ahead a little bit. There we go. The next map is a kind of a cartoon or animated map of the area of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Europe. And it shows where Noah's Ark probably landed. It shows you the Euphrates and Tigris River, but you'll notice that the Tower of Babel is located on that map. And so God instructed Noah and his family to leave the ark and to go and multiply the earth again. And according to the Bible, the people that followed in the next century or so decided not to populate the earth, but they stayed in that Fertile Crescent area, and they established a community there, and they built a tower that has come to be known as the Tower of Babel. It was going to be kind of a rah-ha, look at us, we human beings rule the world. And God was very disappointed in their response, and so he confused their languages, assigned different languages to different people, and said, "I told you to spread out." And so they did. And so this map shows you where the descendants of Ham, Shem, and Japheth ended up settling. And so we are going to actually start in Turkey, and then we are going to follow the way the migration of people across the world happened following the days of the flood, because there were no people other than Noah and his family. And that's actually after the flood is when written languages and written history begin, and that's because the flood destroyed everything prior to that. And so just kind of on a side note, a lot of archaeological digs and expeditions have taken place over the years in the area known as the Mountains of Ararat, in the hopes of finding some sort of remains of a giant boat. Most of them have failed, although there have been movies made about it. In recent years, there was a discovery of an area in the Northeast that appeared to be the just sparse remains of something very large. They believe that what is left of this thing is made of wood, and the dimensions match the dimensions of the Bible, of the Noah's boat in the Bible. And so you'll see a picture there that shows you the remains, shows you the dimensions. And interestingly, if I am reading this picture correctly, that I snagged from a website, the mountains in the foreground of this object are called Jebel Kudai, or something along those lines, which means the mountains of Noah's descent. So the people, generations and generations and generations prior to today, have referenced those mountains in that very area as the mountain of Noah's descent, which would suggest that there's at least an urban legend that is the vicinity of Noah's Ark, or where Noah left the ark and went with his family. So I don't know. It would be cool to think that it still exists, although something of wood, not much of it would be left after 4,500 years or something. So Okay, so that was my just a very brief introduction into the country of Turkey and why we are actually starting in Turkey. I told the kids that we are going to, in your 3-subject notebook, we're going to have 3 different sections that are going to be specific and that I want you to use for notes and that sort of thing. The first section in your 3-subject notebook is going to be the fact of the day section. About 2 of the 3 days a week of class, I'm going to introduce a fact of the day. And your job is to listen to the facts of the day and pick 5 of those facts to keep in your notebook for each fact of the day. So today's fact of the day was Istanbul. We talked about Istanbul. We practiced the art of listening, taking notes, and writing out, picking 5 of those facts. And so what I'd like for you to do, and you can transfer it when you get back to school, I'd like for you to take a piece of notebook paper, write today's date, which is August 17th, and then I want you to write down Istanbul, I-S-T-A-N-B-U-L, underline it. And then I want you to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as I read through the facts, I want you to choose 5 of them. It doesn't matter which 5 they are, but I want you to pick 5 of them and write 5 complete sentences, 5 facts of the day regarding Istanbul. And you can just slide that into your notebook when you get back, or you can transfer it if you want to. So in the first section of your notebook, we're going to have the fact of the day. And so today's fact of the day is Istanbul, and you'll see several pictures there. And generally what I do when I do the fact of the day is I show pictures on the screen as well as read the information. Sometimes I tell it like a story, sometimes I list things off. I'm going to sort of do both today. So Istanbul is the fact of the day today. Istanbul is in Turkey. It actually straddles the Bosporus Straits, which connects the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So it's cut in two. The city is cut in two by a water system. The western part of Istanbul sits on the European continent, and the eastern part of Istanbul sits in Asia. The nation of Turkey, a little tiny part of it sits in Europe. The rest of it, most of it, is in Asia. And so that city, Istanbul, does as well. Istanbul has gone by 3 predominant names over the course of history. Early on, several thousand years ago, it would be, I'm going to say a couple thousand years ago, during the Byzantine Empire, it was called Byzantium. So that was what it was first called. And then later when Emperor Constantine of the Roman Empire became a Christian, it became known as Constantinople. And then in about 1453, I think, when the Ottoman Turks took over, they conquered Constantinople. It was renamed Istanbul. So it's been known as 3 different things. It's a city of between 11 and 15 million people, depending on who you talk to. It is home to some of the most beautiful mosques in the world. The 2 most famous are the Hagia Sophia, which was originally built as a church, means holy wisdom. And when the Muslims took over the city, they changed it into a mosque. Right now it serves as a museum. It doesn't serve as either. The Blue Mosque, which sits right next to the Hagia Sophia and was built by another sultan who wanted to build a bigger and more beautiful mosque. And so it's called the Blue Mosque because the tiles on the inside of the city mosque are blue. Istanbul and the Hagia Sophia, the mosque, or the museum now, the Hagia Sophia, is the inspiration for the city of Naboo and the Star Wars series. Several video games use the Hagia Sophia as part of their video game. So a lot of kids that see it recognize it because they associate it with that. But the Hagia Sophia is probably the most visited tourist attraction in the city of Istanbul, maybe in the country of Turkey. Oh, let's see here. There are 2 suspension bridges that connect the European and the Asian side of Istanbul. The Grand Bazaar is the oldest covered bazaar in the world, and I believe there are about 3,000 shops in it, which is crazy. Istanbul was the location or the inspiration for Agatha Christie's book, Murder on the Orient Express. She was actually in a hotel in Istanbul when she wrote that very popular book. What else about Istanbul? I think I've probably given you 3 things. Let me look here. During the Roman era, when it was part of the Eastern Roman Empire, a security wall or fort was built around the city, although it did not protect it ultimately from the Turks. There are a lot of Roman ruins all over the city. There's a picture in here of an aqueduct that cuts through the city, a huge double tall aqueduct, and they just built the highway system right underneath it. Let's see here. Okay, you'll see a PowerPoint with a film strip in it, and that means that you're supposed to stop and watch a video. So I sent you the link. It's included in the Google Classroom assignment. It's just a travel video. Actually, it was a video put together by, I think, Western Kentucky University. They have a travel abroad school in Istanbul, and so the gentleman or the young adult that is doing the tour, I think, is part of that program. So I want you to watch the video as he takes you around Istanbul, but you don't need to watch the part when it gets to the university itself. So you'll end up watching about 10 minutes of it, and the last 5 minutes or so, he starts talking about the educational opportunities there, and you don't need to watch that. So stop this video, go watch that video. And then when you return, section 2 in your notebook is going to contain all of your vocabulary, or what I call definitions. And so I'm going to make a copy of this PowerPoint for you, so you don't need to copy this down right now. But when you get back to school, in the second section of your notebook, I want you to transfer the definition from this PowerPoint slide into your notebook. And the definition, we only have one definition today, and it's the countries of the Eastern Mediterranean. And the definition says, also known as Southwest Asia, the countries include Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Cyprus, Israel, and Jordan. And those are the first 6 countries that we are going to visit as we travel around the world. There's a map there that shows you where those countries are. And then I'm probably not even going to use this last slide, but it's the video that I don't have access to. When you guys get back, I might see if you want to take it home and borrow it and watch it at home. It's Drive-Through History with Dave Stott, and he does several episodes on Turkey and Istanbul in particular that are pretty interesting. So that's the video on the lesson. It didn't take nearly as long with me sitting here and not managing an entire classroom. You will have a reading quiz on chapter 17, section 1, on the physical geography of the Eastern Mediterranean countries. I'm going to take pictures of those pages, and I am going to, you can come on in, Maddie, I'm almost done. I'm going to take pictures of those pages, and I will email them to you, and I'm going to email the quiz to your parents. And then whenever you're ready to take the quiz, you can't use your book when you take it, but you can take the quiz whenever you're ready to do it this week, and just have your parents proctor it and give it back to them. They can snap a picture of it and send it, email it to me. So that's all for now. Follow the instructions in Google Classroom, and I hope you guys are doing well. Bye.